All right, let's see what we got here. Share this on Facebook and see what we can do with this. All right, let's see here. So this is new for me. I am Drew Badger here, and I'm here to answer your questions if I can figure out how to do this. And this will be some interesting thing. Looks like we do have some people watching. If you do have any questions or anything, because I am starting this live, and I have absolutely no idea of what I'll be talking about today. It's been a regular morning over here. Just went to the park with my daughter. Went to the pool as well. Just getting some exercise in. I got bad knees, so I need to exercise. I actually do a lot of sitting on, just sitting around working on stuff for you guys out there. But if you can hear me, I'm trying to figure out the best way to load this up because this is in fact my first time trying one of these. And if people are watching this and you can let me know. I don't see like any things about chats. Again, this is my first time doing it, so we'll see what we can find over here. Uh, and this will be interesting. So if any is anybody in the chat, I don't know if this works on YouTube or not. I'm going to go right to the YouTube page and see if I'm on there. That'll be pretty funny. Let's see. So I am. Yeah, I wish I had a better thing to like start this off with. Again, I was just like, you know what? I really want to spend some time getting to help people directly. So if I can, make some time to get on and just help people out if they have specific questions, then I'm happy to do that. But let's see. Let's see if there's anything on Facebook so far. But I hope everybody is doing well. This should be interesting. Let's see if we can get some things to talk about if anybody has any questions. Not yet, not that I can see. I don't really know a good place to get these questions. This is weird though, just giving this a try for the first time. Let's see if there's any way. I don't know what actually like a good way to do this. Feel free to email me at info@englishanyone.com if you do have any questions. I'll check there as well. But other than that, I just wanted to get up and really say hello. This is my just little study area if I want to do some work and just yeah, really just spend a lot of time thinking and reading in here, trying to figure out better ways to help people improve. And anyway, it's great to just to get here and have some people join me live. It looks like there are people enjoying this, but it's again, I don't really know how to connect with people. So it's like if you're sitting there typing things and I can't see them, this is me being a little bit, I don't know, new to this whole thing. So let's see if I can figure out a way to do this. But yeah, if you do have any questions, I don't really know the best way to how to get this though. This is really odd actually. But I figured just like anything else, if I'm trying to do something like it's better to just kind of jump into it without really knowing what you're doing. So hopefully you can hear the sound for what I'm talking about here and there aren't any other specific problems. But yeah, let me see. So email me right now at info@englishanyone.com, and hopefully I can figure out a way to get this rolling. So we'll check Facebook as well. So you can go to Facebook. I'm checking that because again, I don't know exactly how to check things right on this. But yeah, if you've got any questions, the latest post on Facebook right now, you can check right in that, and we'll see how we do. So let me open up mail right quick and just see if anybody's sending me a mail. So do again, like this is your perfect time to check that. If you do want to ask me questions, I know a lot of people are always trying to figure out ways to practice with native speakers or to get their questions answered. So this is the perfect time to do it. Let me see. I got to turn my phone on though. But anyway, it's just been a regular day. I was just like, I've been thinking about doing some kind of live lesson for a while and wanted to connect more with people. I think I did a similar kind of thing on Facebook actually a while ago, but it was only just texting. So this is my first time actually broadcasting live, just getting used to it, seeing how it works. But still, yeah, no comments yet on Facebook. And again, this is one of those things I didn't want to like tell everybody about it before I was going to do it, just because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So the few people that are able to join me and let me know where this is, let me see if I can get the link out and see what other messages we've got on. I'm going to check the link of the broadcast itself. This is going to be kind of weird, but what? Looks like we do have some people already liking this. Oh, this is weird. I'm looking at myself. I'm going to pause that though. But see if they have. So how do we get like questions on here? This is really weird. Why am I not able to see? Oh, here goes the chat. Awesome. All right. All right. I found the live chat. This is really odd. Anyway, yes. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm watching. I don't want to watch myself. I paused it, but look at this. Okay. I got a whole bunch of, wow. Everybody just jumped on here. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Let me see if I can go through a bunch of names here. We got Farouz, Adam, Annie, Doggy Park. That's an interesting name. Omar, Amit, Kevin, Wakim Durga, Miriam, Ruben, Joel, Clarence, Tran, Kawil, Ginnett, and got a whole bunch of people over here. All right, this is fantastic. All right, I'm just going to roll through these and see if anybody has any questions. We got people from all over the place: Tanzania, Mexico, Taiwan. Let's see. Any advice for PTE retail lecture? I don't even know what that is. That's an interesting sounding thing. What time is it there in Japan? It is currently 2:24 p.m. So it is the afternoon on February 27th. Drew is famous and popular. That's awesome. Actually, I don't know if I'm that famous or that popular, but it's thank you, Gabriel, for saying so. Could you please confirm the difference between all and everything? Oh, that's an interesting question. The difference between all and everything. A lot of individual things like this, you get a better sense for it for seeing it, how it works in an everyday situation. And it's kind of a tricky thing where you're looking at like all when you're kind of, I guess, like counting specific things and everything where you're trying to talk about. I don't know. I'm not even going to give a really good explanation of it because it's better to kind of like show it to you visually. I wish I had some like better thing. But you can basically use them interchangeably. So if I want to talk about I do something all the time, I'm counting like all the different times that there are available. So I would use all. But I can also use every, which is really the same thing. So I mean, it's not even, I don't know, it's not even really a thing that I'd like to go into right now, and that really wasn't the best explanation. But hopefully we'll go through a couple of other things, and this is something that I can take notes for a couple of these. And then let's see if I can have maybe some better lessons. So often I like to take time and instead of just maybe like giving something right away where people want an answer, I want to take some time to think about what's the best way to explain it, unless I can really think of something quickly. But I'll just look at, let's see. I'll just go through a lot of these over here. Wow, this is fantastic. So it's great to get these live chat, get a whole bunch of people on here joining us. But this is interesting. I'm surprised they don't have a better system for checking the chat right here. But anyway, so let's see if there's anything. Yeah, there's no chat set up in the system itself. I actually have to go to the page and kind of stare at myself. This is interesting. But let's see. Coil says, how can I become good one in English? Well, this is a kind of like a general question people have is about how to improve. And the thing I always recommend is that you should really be thinking about what's the best way to get a specific goal within fluency itself. And this is why I talk about having the 7 fluency habits and being able to develop all those, because this is something that you really need to have a particular focus and then work on the thing that you're weakest at first. So fluency, and this has actually been a problem for me for trying to come up with really good ways to learn. And it's kind of a negative for me actually for the channel because I have so many things that I try to teach because there really are a lot of different pieces that are required in order to get fluent. And if I just focus on grammar or I just focus on vocabulary, you're kind of developing only one piece of that thing. So it's important to develop all of these different things, but at the same time, and this is another great phrase, and I try to weave these phrases into what I say, but at the same time, you also want to be learning a couple of different things. So I know the ultimate goal is to become a confident speaker, but you also have to think about what's the weakest thing that I have a problem with right now. And then you solve that weakest thing and then move on to the next weakest thing, and that's what's going to help you get fluent. So if you move to let's say the biggest problem that you have is that you have a limited vocabulary. So maybe you can express yourself in some basic ways, but it's hard for you to think of something a bit more, I guess, like difficult, or you want to express yourself in a more interesting way because you often say the same kind of basic things over and over again. Then you would just focus on vocabulary and focus on learning that by stories. Or, there's a number of different ways you can improve. But again, the thing to focus on is your worst fluency habit, the thing that you really have a problem with. And that way you can use that information to actually develop the other things that you're maybe okay at, but it's not as bad as that worst thing. So let's say, where am I? Let's see, Jose said, where am I? I'm in Nagasaki, Japan right now. So if you're not familiar, take a look at a map and you can see Nagasaki, Japan. Let's see. Hi, my best teachers. Hi, guys. Okay, let's go slow. First of all, I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat. These are amazing. You guys, like, there's tons of questions and a whole bunch of great things. I'm going to have to go back after this is finished and read all these comments. But it's really just fantastic to connect with you like this and to get all of your comments and see everybody. But do type at the bottom. Let me know if I am speaking too quickly or you can't understand what I'm saying. Just like give me like some. I'm going to go scroll to the bottom of the chat right now. But let me know if you do have any questions about that, or if I'm not speaking too slow. So let's see. Miriam just asked, how is my baby? So Aria is actually 1.5 years now, and she is taking a nap in the next room. So I figured this was a good opportunity for me to get online. It looks like people are understanding what I'm saying, which is fantastic. It's good to be understood. But if she does wake up, we'll see. Maybe I will get her to come in here. I've been doing actually a lot of practicing with Aria, and it's really the same kinds of things that I do with people in if I'm, either just working with some people individually or in the programs that I create. It's all about developing the habits, again, like I was mentioning earlier about how to get fluent. Let's see. How to use the word whatsoever. So whatsoever just means, and this is one of those words where maybe you're thinking, I want to express myself in a certain way, and like I don't know a good way to say it, like whatsoever, or I don't even know like a good way to explain it. It's like it's kind of the same thing as whatever. And I actually feel bad. I feel like a bad educator right now. I think part of the thing that I really enjoy doing is taking a lot of time, and like even the grammar lessons that we create, they'll take usually like 2 or 3 weeks to write. It's maybe like only 6 or 7 pages in the lesson itself, but actually taking the time to think about what can be used and what we might not use or something like that. It takes a long time to think about. Well, we've got somebody from Fukuoka. Hello, hi from Bangkok. Do I have any 101 courses? I don't know what a 101 course is, but if you are new to English, anyone, and you'd like to learn more about how to improve, or even if you just have trouble using a lot of basic English, watch the beginning English playlist that we made here on English Anyone on the right here on the YouTube channel. So look at the playlist that we have, and you can see it's just called like Beginning English or something like that. But you'll see it's just using everything that's in English to teach you English. So there's no explanations and nothing that requires your native language to do that. And even if you are a good speaker, it's a really good review to go back and check out those kinds of things so that you can start improving more with them and start to use them automatically. So we got Miriam. My biggest problem is my writing. And with writing, it's really the same thing as trying to improve any other skill, where you just have to find good writing. And what I mean by good writing is like, good examples of things that are appropriate for what you want to write. So like writing by itself doesn't really mean anything. It's more like the kind of writing you need to do if it's professional writing or academic writing, or you're a lawyer and you need to write in a particular kind of way. The best way to improve your writing is actually to take samples of that good writing, again, for your particular kind of writing, and then just copy it by hand. So don't type it on a computer. You actually want to slow the language down and get a feel for how you would be writing something like that. Let's see. Edwin says hello from San Francisco. I was in San Francisco recently. I'll actually probably be back there. My younger sister just had a baby. I'm very happy about that. So I was actually talking with her yesterday about going out there. And also I will be in Colombia next month. So actually not that long, maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks, I will be in Colombia. I don't know really any Spanish. I know like una cerveza, por favor, or something, which is like one beer, please, from Spanish class. And like, I don't know, maybe like what time is it or something like that. So I'll have to review something. So I'll give you a quick phrase for this. If you're, let's say you're practicing a language or you're practicing something else, and then you stop practicing for a while, and then you have to go back to that thing because you want to improve it again, you can call this brushing up on that particular thing. So I'm brushing up on my Spanish, which means that I studied Spanish before, and then I stopped studying, and now I'm going to go to, I don't know, maybe I again, like go to Colombia or wherever, and I need to use Spanish again. Let's see. Allison says, why is the sky blue? Why is the sky blue? You know, that's an interesting question, you know, and I think it has to do with light refracting and really like the particles of water in the air going through that, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really the authority on answering anything like that, but hopefully we can come up with some some better, more related to English questions. We'll see. But anyway, like right now, you can. This is just kind of like talking about the. Oh, where's Teru? She's also relaxing in another room right now. Maybe I will bring her on if this is successful and people enjoy this. Maybe I will have a different like live thing in the future. So you guys will let me know if you think this is a good idea. What's my opinion about India? I don't know. I really don't have an opinion about India. I've never been to India. It sounds like a really cool place with a lot of interesting culture. I love Indian food. We've actually got a really great Indian restaurant not that far from where I live. So I go down there. I get the butter chicken a lot. That's one of my favorites. And I get, let's see, I really like vegetable korma, but that's not offered at that restaurant, unfortunately. Can I prepare any more video, include or repeat the same word or idioms like I do? And again, this is my tricky thing. So you guys are my fans, and I'm here for you, my students, the people I'm really here to improve or to help improve. And it's really just a question of figuring out what's the best thing I can focus on, and that's why I try to produce a lot of different things. But again, that's kind of the problem, is that I lose a little bit of focus. So when I have lots of different ideas, I try lots of different things. And if you do have specific ideas for videos, you can, like we're doing right now, just commenting right here in the chat, or you can send me an email, because I will be going into the studio tomorrow to record some more videos from you for you guys. So let's see, how to improve speaking skill. Now this is one of those things, like I think it's really important for people to get focused about what it is they want to do. And if they just say how to improve speaking skill or how to improve fluency, it's really a broad thing. And you have to think about your mind as if you are a robot, and you have to program that robot to do what you want it to do, because the robot will just do things automatically if you can, kind of train it to do that. So again, you're kind of thinking about yourself not as a person, but like a programmable computer or a programmable robot. And if you can do that, then it's really going to help you kind of, let's focus on a particular thing. I'm going to give a particular program to my mind and say, okay, I really want to focus on pronunciation, or I really want to focus on learning specific vocabulary for some specific purpose. And the more you can do that, the better you're going to be for improving your English. But again, it begins with some more specific thing that you need to think about in order for that to really help you improve. Let's see, how to practice. What time is it in Japan now? 2:36. I'm glassophobic. What should I do? I don't know what that means. If that's an actual word, if like your fear, does it mean fear of glasses, or fear of like these kind of glasses, or like glass on a window? I don't know. Let me check Facebook questions and see what's going on over here in Facebook. So hello, if you are watching over in Facebook, let's see what's going on. Well, let's see. Does it really worth to go? Let's see. Mike Mello says, is it really worth to go to another country to participate of an exchange program? I guess it depends on what you're going to do with that. But the idea that you need to be living in a foreign country in order to get fluent. Just, I mean, it's helpful for sure, but it's not true, because I know like lots of people, and many of the people that I do help have been living in foreign countries like America or Canada or Australia. They've been living there for many years and still can't speak fluently. So this comes back to the idea of really what's the best thing to do for you personally in order to improve, and it's about the person trying to improve their fluency, and not the particular location. So sure, it's helpful, but when you say like, well, I'm living in this place so I can get fluent, or I can get fluent, you're removing that responsibility from yourself. And I know it's easy to do that where you think like, well, I'm in Germany and I live in a small town, or I'm in I don't know, like Iraq, and I've got no connection with native speakers where I live. Anybody that has an internet connection right now, it is possible to meet other native speakers and just start connecting with them. But you have to think about it more as just a person connecting with other people, as opposed to someone that's connecting with people like so they can learn the language. And I think this is like a lot of people get kind of nervous about like how they can connect with people, and they worry that like, okay, I want to speak with other, like I want to speak with native speakers, but maybe they say, hey, can you help me with my English, and then the conversation ends right there. Now I know quite a bit about actually teaching the language, but most kind of everyday people, they don't really know like a lot of the questions, or a lot of the answers to the questions people will have about getting fluent. And so this is frustrating for them, because really a lot of native speakers do want to help people learn. You know, they're happy to have somebody to communicate with, but they often just can't answer grammatical questions like a lot of people have. I actually took a grammar quiz myself like 2 days ago, just to see like how I would do. This was just some random online quiz. I forget where I saw that, but I got like a perfect score on it. But it was only like 4% of the population can get a score like that. And this is just because I've like actually just been doing it for a long time. But it just shows the average person, really, they won't be able to help you with specific things like that. But the average person really is excited to get to know you, and excited to speak with you more, and to like actually have a connection with you. So the more you can do that, and again, it doesn't matter if you're living in a particular country or not, it's really like the idea that you have about how you want to improve. So just like answering that question again quickly. Thank you, Mike, for that. You don't have to do an exchange program if you don't want to, and it's certainly helpful if you can make a right connection, but ultimately you are responsible for getting fluent. So the people that take responsibility for their fluency are the ones that get fluent. See if we got any other questions here on Facebook. Oh no, somebody just wrote like a whole like, can you distinguish using pronunciation between can and can't? Okay, so this is one of those things that people like when you're listening to a sentence and you hear somebody say like, I can't do something, or I can do something. Often you'll be listening to the intonation and not just the words themselves, and this will help you like kind of train yourself, or just, again, you're not just listening to the words, but you're listening to the intonation, or watching the way like even someone's eyes move, or just their expression on their face. So if someone asks me like, can you take me to the airport tomorrow, and I say like, no, I can't. No, I can't. So if you look at my face, no, I can't. I'm looking a little bit, maybe like, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. But if you listen to the way I'm speaking, my pronunciation, the blending of it, I say, no, I can't. So I'm still, even if you're listening to the sounds I'm making, it sounds like can, but I'm actually saving a little bit of space at the end where the T goes. So I say, no, I can't. No, I can't. So it's no, I can't. But if I were to say like, yes, I can, I'm not like leaving any extra space for that. No, I can't. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So you can see I'm using up that whole space, but even when the T is not pronounced, we still leave a little bit of space for that. No, I can't. No, I can't. Let's see, any other. I am great and can do a backflip. Very nice. Followed. Your videos are indeed great. I like the way you keep your natural way of speaking and talking, not too slow, which would be boring. Yeah, that's a thing I try to work on with people. Thank you, Dan, for that. It's a tricky thing, because a lot of people like you understand actually what I'm saying, or even like more difficult English. And it's a lot of people really are watching videos like mine to improve their speaking because they can understand a lot of what most people do. And this is why I created the Fluency Bridge, which is a way of taking the understanding level that you have now, but then developing that in different ways and in the right steps so that you can actually start speaking with that. But if you want to copy my accent or even listen to other people that are speaking in the way I do, spend, I don't know, maybe like a little bit of time watching a couple of people on YouTube. So if you have other people that you enjoy learning with, like specific teachers that are helping you improve, but then spend more of your time listening or watching, listening to or watching things that you're interested in. Like if you enjoy learning about cars, then watch videos on YouTube about cars. Or whatever specific thing is, and like that's how you can kind of you're really doing two things at the same time when you improve your fluency in that way. The first one is you're getting more excited about something because you're learning more about it, but also you're taking that information, like the maybe more detailed things you learn about a car, and then you can use that vocabulary in other situations. So it's a really powerful way to learn, and it's really, again, beginning with something that you're excited about, something that you're interested in the first place. So just a bit of background about myself, if maybe you're not familiar. I came to Japan initially because I wanted to study Japanese gardening. And so that was the thing that got me interested. I didn't really have much interest in the language itself before I came here. But then when I got here, I realized, well, I should probably learn the language in order to be able to connect with people. And it was really frustrating. And like, I don't need to tell my whole story about how I learned to speak Japanese. But it's interesting to think that it came more from me having a specific interest and then using that as a way to learn more things. But then the words that I learned from gardening can be applied in other ways, just like a video I released recently, I think a couple days ago, where I was talking about it's called a power story, where you're really learning the practical origin of something, and then you're applying that information from that specific area to something else. So as an example, maybe I care a lot about like dating or something. So I learn a lot about like specific words for dating and romance and other things like that. But then I apply those to other things. And as I did in that video, I was talking about the origin of a lot of things that came from baseball. So a thing like getting to first base means kissing a girl. So it's kind of like you get like a short hit, something it's like maybe not that great. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I don't think a guy would complain about being able to kiss a girl. But that's something, again, that you can take like an interest in baseball and then apply that to something else. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. You should do it from time to time. We love it. Thank you very much. I love the way you teach us English. Really impressed. Thank you very much. Let's see. The chat is actually scrolling like too quickly. I can't even follow what's happening. But this is great. Let's see. Salim says, "What's up with the English fluency bits? We want more, Drew. We want some English fluency bits." If you're not familiar with English fluency bits, these are things like "be that as it may," and this is one thing that like people often when they send me emails, they use that phrase, "be that as it may," and again, like the pronunciation of that, "be that as it may." So the way of writing it, "be that as it may," be that as it may. This is be that as it may, be that as it may. So when you're talking about even though, like let's say the weather is not so great, be that as it may, we're still going to go outside anyway. So I know people enjoy English fluency bits, and these are the things that we teach a lot in Master English Conversation in the fluency course. But yeah, I guess I should produce some more because people do enjoy them here on YouTube as well. Let's see. So we've got, wow, so it's 2:46 in Brazil. So thank you, Joab, and greetings from Colombia, from Christian. Hi from India. This is great. How can I remember a noun, verb, or adjective? Where did that go? Oh, how can I remember noun, verb, and adverb in fast talking? So this is Martin, and now this is just like a very, I don't know, it's kind of a simple thing I've covered already a little bit here, but when you want to improve a particular thing, like just focus on one thing at a time. So if you say like, how do I improve this, and this? Like, don't improve this, and this. Just work on one thing. Like if you want to, just improve your conversational ability, you need to kind of become correct, it's really the same way as developing good form for exercising. So if you are learning to, like, let's say you want to develop, strong leg muscles. So you want to do some squats in order to do that. But before you start putting weight on your back, you want to actually get the form correct so you don't hurt your body while you do it. And the same thing happens when you're trying to get fluent. So you don't want to, get into a situation where I want to like put all the weight on my back now. So let me try doing these things immediately and not really know how to do it properly. So first pick one thing, like just start using nouns properly. And then you try to make the sentences a bit more a bit more interesting. So you would begin by just trying to say things and make it so that you can say them automatically. As an example, I might say like, this is a cup. So I'm holding a cup right here. This is a cup, or you can call this a mug as well. So this is a mug. And then I would begin, again, I'm just practicing this is a mug, and I'm practicing the blending of these words as well. This is a mug. This is a mug. This is a mug. And I'm practicing it with, I'm just talking about this is something else. And now I can, after that, maybe I'm going to apply an adjective, like this is a heavy mug. Oh, this is heavy. This is a heavy mug. This is a heavy mug. Or if I'm talking about a verb and I'm talking about I'm drinking water. I'm drinking water. So before I try to add adverbs or try to change the way the verb is, I want to get the actual sentence, the basic sentence down correct first. So this is water, where this is like water that I'm drinking right now. So I'm drinking water. I'm drinking water quickly. I'm drinking water quickly. I'm drinking water slowly. So in this way, you build up things and you begin just working on one thing at a time and then practice it until you can use it automatically. And then you change these sentences. So this is a mug. Now, if you think about this is a mug, like how could we talk about something else? Like this is a phone. This is a phone. This is a phone. This is a jacket. This is a jacket. This is a piece of paper. So after you start practicing that, then the pronunciation of it becomes much easier. And you'll listen to the way native speakers talk. They're really just saying things almost like robots. And this is the same way you would be speaking in your native language as well, where you're talking about something and you kind of use things automatically and they come out in chunks. So this is the way we speak, and you tend to use the same things over and over again. So this is a, 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 and as you practice that, it will come out of your mouth as one thing automatically over time. Mad Santos was asking about the TOEFL exam. I really need tips for that. I am no expert when it comes to TOEFL. I can help you with just speaking confidence, and that's great for passing speaking interviews when it comes to passing a test like TOEFL. But in general, if you have specific questions about TOEFL or any other like TOEIC or whatever, even like the ACAN test if you're in Japan, these are things I would recommend you find other people on YouTube that are specific for passing those kinds of tests, because really you should, I guess if you're trying to pass a test in order to get into a school or in some kind of study abroad program or even to get a job, then just pass the test in order to do that, because most people don't really care like how your English is once you get the job, but like the customers or the people you'll be speaking with, they will care about that. So first, just pass the test, do what you have to do to get the job or whatever, and then you can be improving your speaking with like the kinds of lessons that I make. Let's see, we're going to scroll down some more. Now, these are interesting things. If you look at me, I'm scrolling down and I say, this is just something native speakers say. And if you listen carefully for these kinds of things, when I'm using them in conversations, you can start applying them in your conversations as well. Let's see. Adani Solomon says, download vocabulary apps to improve your vocabulary. Yep, you can download vocabulary apps. Also, like our app will be available very soon, so we're actually doing testing of it. I don't have my iPad in front of me, but I was just doing some testing on Scroll Phonics, which you can learn more about at scrollphonics.com. But I'm really excited about that. It's our ultimate guide to pronunciation, and we'll be releasing that very soon. But it actually teaches you or lets you teach yourself pronunciation and lots of vocabulary. There are over 2,000 commonly used words in it, or 2,000, I guess, words and sounds, and we're really excited to release that soon. How long did it take you to learn Japanese? Santos says. I think I'm still learning it. I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of you learn a language and you go up in steps like this. You like learn a little bit until you kind of force yourself to learn more. And my Japanese has always been, I don't know, it's like it's okay. But like I think maybe in the past year or so, I've been working extra hard to improve it, just because I don't want my daughter to have better Japanese than me. So I know that sounds funny, but I know a lot of foreigners out here that maybe it's like a guy typically from America or Canada or Australia, and his wife is Japanese and they have kids, but the father can't really communicate with his own children very well. Like they don't speak English very well, and so like there were times like when I was at the very beginning of learning it that I really struggled for quite a while. Like I think, I don't know, half a year at least, longer than that. And it was still, once I was figuring out how to learn better, figuring out the ways to learn and the way to practice, which was really like the better thing to do. So really the kinds of things I do now, I will, like, I'll hear a particular word or see something. Like I watch a lot of the TV shows. I mean, it's not actually a lot. Maybe we'll watch like an hour of TV in the morning, just like for my daughter to watch some TV shows that are mix of Japanese and English, and I'll watch them together, and I will learn quite a bit of new words, and then I will just practice those over and over again when I see her, or I'm talking with my wife or anybody else. So these are the kinds of things that can get you to improve. Magazine are a bit better, in my opinion, like The Economist. Actually, I was just speaking with someone from The Economist recently, and she was saying that they're surprised by the number of people that are not from English speaking countries that are starting to or I guess read their magazine. So there's a lot of people now, like you guys that are learning out there. Like you guys are the future for like the global economy, for everything else. And learning English is a fantastic skill if you can really develop it. Let's see, Yogesh, how to start a conversation with a foreigner. Now, what I do, I walk up to people. Typically, I will say, like, I will try to go into a situation and find a reason where I can be helpful to them in some way, or I will ask for help. Or if I'm even just like, maybe I'm sitting at a bus stop with somebody or at a train station, I might say, like, oh, hello, like, yeah, nice weather today, isn't it? Or I'll maybe like compliment a person on something interesting that I notice about them, like, oh, those are some nice shoes, or that's a nice whatever. And like I don't expect a conversation to begin with that, but as we say, here's another great phrase for you: it's a numbers game. So anything that requires you to maybe try something many different times, like you've got to like if you're in the real estate market, you might find 100 homes that you're like potentially thinking about, but only one or two are actually going to be good. But it's a numbers game, so you have to go through those things and try to figure out which ones are best. And it's the same thing with meeting people. So I might like say hello to 20 different people, and only two or three will actually like develop into some kind of conversation with me. Let's see. Rand says, "Hi Drew, I come from China. Thank you so much. Could you give me some advice to the EFL kids, like how to improve their language ability while making these learning things interesting?" The number one thing that I can say for children, but for adults as well, and I don't really make a distinction between how kids should learn and how adults should learn. The only interesting thing with adults is that adults have to remove all of the bad habits that they create by learning in traditional ways. So this is why I say it's not your fault if you really can't speak, because like nobody, you were probably forced to learn English in your elementary school or whenever you learned it, and your teacher might not have even been a foreigner. Your teacher was maybe like somebody from your own country, and their pronunciation was not very good. This is typically the situation in Japan, even with a lot of foreigners out here teaching. But if you can make the language easy enough for people to understand without them having to hear an explanation in their native language, that's the ideal way to learn. And so again, if you're new or you want to help young children learn the language for the first time, have them watch the Beginning English playlist on our YouTube channel, because that teaches everything in English, and anybody can watch that without having any explanation at all. So the worst thing you can do is have them start out and try to explain things to them in English. You should be making everything simple enough that people can understand things without you having to tell them what it means. And that's why, like, the very first lesson from that one is eyes. Eyes. Now, this is a different grammar point than maybe something in a different language like Japanese, where you would say like me, me. and I'm talking about both of them, I can count them like futatsu no me, like I've got two eyes or whatever in Japanese. But the singular and plural doesn't work the same way in English and Japanese. So if you're looking at something like that, you're learning the vocabulary itself, but how the grammar works naturally. So it's without having any explanations. And this is why what we're doing with Scroll Phonics is not only having you teach yourself how the phonics rules work without having any explanation, but also having some grammar in there as well, so that you can see how the language works together and you actually teach yourself the language. And it's the first app ever that has no explanations of any kind, so you can use it. I mean, I could take this app and like put it in an iPhone and drop it in the middle of a jungle somewhere, and anybody who found it could start teaching themselves the language. It looks like Arya woke up though, so I'm going to see if like maybe you guys want to see Arya. Let me know. Put like a comment in the chat, and I'll see if I can get Arya in here. Let's see, lots of people. It is still difficult sometimes to understand what they're saying when they are British or Indian, or maybe because of lacking of empathy myself. How can I improve that kind of empathy and break the wall? So this is Minjae Lee. This is again like beginning with like that empathy idea that I was talking about recently in a video, and just how you can, I don't even know like a really great way to explain it other than being willing to listen to the other person, and to assume that because you make mistakes as well, other people are going to make mistakes, and that you're trying to connect with them, and like you really want to understand them. And in that case, people will typically, they will slow down, or they will try to make themselves a bit more clear. And let's see. Allison also says, do you play CSGO? No, I do not. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike back in college. I think I played a little bit too much, though. Let's see if we can get Ari in the video. 1 second. Ari, mate? What's up? How you? Looks like Ari's got some banana on her face. So we're going to get Ari in there after she's going to shave, like reading something. I look really young after I shave my beard. Thank you, Lonar. But yeah, so Aria will be joining us in just a second, so I get a special treat for Aria. Let's see, any new comments in Facebook? I'll reload this. My internet is actually quite good today. Sometimes it's not very good. So that's another reason I was a bit worried about having a live connection with people at any time. Let's see. All right, a bunch more comments on Facebook. Let's see. Abdul says, do you know Bangladesh, a beautiful country? We want to have you in our country. Yes, I do know Bangladesh. No, I have not been there, but I think it would be great to go. Let's see. And Abdul also says, how can I speak so fast? How can you do anything fast, just like playing a video game, or playing an instrument, anything like that? You learn to get fast by first doing it well, and then doing it over and over and over again. And it's the one thing that just really frustrates me about being able to teach, because I can't, it's really the only thing I can't give you. I can't give you that like internal motivation to say like, yes, I want to continue doing this. And like I can do the best I can by trying to make things nice and easy to understand, and try to make the learning fun. But if you're not willing to actually kind of follow along and to go along with that process, it's going to be difficult for you to get fluent. So that's really to be able to get faster, to improve the way you speak for anything else, you have to just continue working at it. Let's see some more questions and comments that we've got up here. Let's see. Do I talk to Aria in English? Yes, I do. I speak with Aria in both English and Japanese. And let's see. What? Dozo. What? Aria, you want to come up here? Doo-doo. All right. Aria, you got to say, can you say hello? Hi. Hello. All right. And let's see. So we can, let me turn this up. Yeah, hello. Can I get a smile? Where's your smile? Ding, ding. Hey. So Aria's got, is that some candy? Yeah, we got some candy. So she still doesn't say like yes to me so much. I think it's difficult to pronounce. And Aria is very interesting about how she learns, because she will say often the thing that's easiest, whether it's in English or Japanese. So she might get an English question from me or her mother, but then she will respond in Japanese or do the opposite, like so she can count. Aria, can you count to 10? 1. No? Feeling kind of tired? Yeah. So she can count to 10 just fine in English though, and in Japanese. And are you happy? So right now she's asking for the iPad, which we don't have in front of me. We're like it's in a different room right now. But yeah, she is Aria. So we're talking live with a bunch of people. See all these comments over here? Look at that. Hello, Aria. She is so cute, says Daniel. Hello, hello, hello. All right, look at that. She is adorable. Yeah, they're happy to see you. Are you sleepy? Yeah, sleepy. Let's see. Have I ever been to Myanmar? No, I have not. What? Nina says I am a nice father. Thank you, Nina. I try to be. I know I make mistakes all the time, like everybody else. So Aria, how old are you? Are you 1? 1. You're just saying hi, hi, hi all over and over again. You need to get tickled. We gotta wake you up. Oh my goodness. Yeah. There's the smile. See, the smile is nice. I think maybe she didn't get so long of a nap. I know we don't have the iPad here though. We gotta wait for the iPad. But right now, so she can't really look at anything. We can't see all the people. That would be cool to see like a whole bunch of other people, like actually photos of people. I can kind of see some images for all the people in the chat. Can I tell us the pronunciation of regular past verbs, for example, asked? So again, those depend on how you're saying them in a sentence. And this is a tricky thing about pronunciation where you don't want to. Yeah, I got the headphone on. What? So this is a tricky thing about pronunciation. But you can put it on your ear. In my ear. Oh, thank you. So if you say a word like asked, and this is one of those things that we teach in Scroll Phonics about what the rules are for things like that. But it's really better to just listen for people in conversations, and maybe I'll just make some videos about that where people are talking about things like using the past tense, and you can hear that for pronunciation. Wow! Oh my goodness! You want some more? You want some water? What? Eh. We need to get your tea from Mama. All children love iPads. Yes, Mad, they do. Look like she is exquisite. What's her name? Here we go. Thank you. So her name is Aria, Aria, and my wife is Japanese. And Aria is 1.5 years old. So more people asking for more tips to speak fluently. Oh my goodness, I got over 450 videos on the channel. It's like I can't make enough tips. People always want give me some new tips for learning English and new things. So new thing, I'm trying to think of some like interesting tips for learning English, like the Power Stories thing. That was a new one that I was thinking of. And like if you watch the videos on the channel, you'll see a lot of things that come up like just as I'm thinking about them, or like maybe I'm thinking about them just in a conversation. I'll write them down quickly and make a video about them. But often it's hot. Daddy. I know it's getting hot. Daddy. Yes. What's your question? What? We don't have the iPad in here though. Hey. Are you gonna ask about the iPad? Hey. You can have the phone. Oh, the phone's off. Actually, we can't use the phone right now. But I can give you some more. You want some tea? Bye-bye. Bye-bye? Really? You're going to leave me? You want to go back and see Mama? What do you want to do? Do you want to get a little bit? Why? Kawaii. Kawakunayo. So kawaii means scary. Scary. That's not scary, though. I'm just like tickling you. Like, or she'll even say like a kosowai, which is like to be tickled or whatever. Kawaii. All right, let's see. If I could spend your time with someday, I would like to know how good it would be. Let's see. How do I understand English movies? This is another great thing you can do to practice, but I do recommend you start with things where you understand at least 80 to 90% of what you're watching. And this just means maybe you're watching a TV show or something, but try to get to the level where you don't need to open up your dictionary all the time. And anything that's a new word, you can understand from the context of the situation. So this applies to reading as well. Like my spoken Japanese is way better than my reading. And the reason for that is because you have to understand the written Japanese characters if you want to speak Japanese. And it's just like, it's much different than learning something like the alphabet. What, do you want to open that? No, we're not going to open the candy though. We can give you some. You want to draw? Draw. Okay. There you go. All right, legs, a draw. What? All right, should we practice and see what you can learn? I'll give her some letters and see if she can say what they are. Let's see. Do. There's a secret. So here's the first letter. I don't know if you can see that. All right, what's this? A. A. Very good. Let's try another one. Bye bye. Ah. Here we go. Here we can use the drawing pad. So we do quite a bit of drawing with this over here. Do some letters. What's that? Oh. Oh. Here, you can draw though. Well, let's see. What will I do when I'm in Colombia? I'm just meeting a friend of mine, actually. We wanted to. Oh, look at that. Aria's O. So I'm just meeting a friend of mine, and we are just traveling around. So if you've got some interesting ideas about what to do down there, send me an email at info@EnglishAnyone.com or let me know just on Facebook. Let's see. I feel nervous around natives. So Atef, this is another great question from people. People often feel nervous about speaking in front of native speakers. First, try to isolate, and this means, are you nervous around anybody? Because many people, even that are native English speakers, are nervous about speaking in front of other people. And, it could be just because they're shy. Or, yeah, we don't have the iPad over here, though. You got to go out there. Do you want to go out there? Okay. Here, I'll hold this, and you can go out and see Mama. Can you say bye-bye to everyone, though? Bye-bye. Yeah, she can't see people, so. Bye-bye. And I need to take this shirt off because it's getting hot. So Aria is, again, 1.5 years old. Now, where was I talking? I, lose my train of thought about this. Here we go. Give Aria's tea back. Come on. All right. So confidence. When you're talking about if you're confident when you're speaking with other people in your native language, and then your actual problem is English. But if you have problems with speaking confidence when you're talking with people in your native language as well, then that's something you have to focus on. So it's more about what's the actual problem. But if assuming it is with speaking English, I often would improve my English or improve my Japanese in my case, speaking with Japanese kids, because they laugh at everything, and it's fun just to improve with them, and you don't worry so much about how you sound. So if there are maybe some kids you see just walking around in your particular area, that's a great way to practice with them. I made a video a while ago about it might even be 2 or 3 years ago, I think, but I went to a Japanese park, or just a park out here in Japan, and I was holding the camera and walking around and just using that as an example to walk up and talk with people. So often, people nowadays are kind of used to, especially if you live in an English-speaking country and you can meet native speakers, go get a camera and just say you're a creator for YouTube or whatever, and you go out and you're like, hey, I'm doing a series of videos asking people questions on the street, and it's just you say it's for whatever. So I will just make up reasons to talk to people just to have something to say. But again, you don't really need to do anything amazing. That just begin by opening your mouth and saying hello to people. Get comfortable with saying just one word, and then get comfortable with saying 2 words or 3 words or 4 words, and then make it a game like that. Challenge yourself to say even more. What's my last score on the IELTS? I've never taken the IELTS exam. I think the last test I took was the no, what did I take? Maybe that was the GRE. It was just something for graduate school, and I did really well. It was interesting. I did okay on the regular part, and then I did really well on the math for some reason. I'm really bad at math, but I guessed like the whole way through and got a really good score. But I didn't end up going to graduate school anyway. I was thinking about going to graduate school for landscape architecture, which I did not pursue, but maybe I'll go back to that in the future. So again, make some lessons about TOEFL. Like I will probably not be making lessons about TOEFL because I don't know so much about TOEFL. And I'll share some like good information with you guys about how I think it would be great if like people on YouTube were educating people in a certain way. I think the whole English learning community, so people that are trying to learn English or trying to help other people with the language, like it's really good if they can focus on a particular thing. So if there's a channel that just focuses on grammar or a channel that just focuses on TOEFL or whatever, like those kinds of channels are going to be the most helpful for you. What was my SAT score? I think my SAT score was 1,200 something. It wasn't very good, but it was okay. And again, like I kind of started late. Like I would not in high school or even college imagined I would be teaching English. Like that's like something I did not. My English was awful. My scores were always really bad in school, and I was really bad with grammar as well. But I think because I struggled with many things and struggled with learning Japanese in particular, I wanted to correct all of those problems that everybody else makes. And really it begins with the way you learn it initially. So if you have problems like that, those are going, like, again, like this is why I created Scroll Phonics and why we'll be releasing it very soon, because I really wanted to have something that people at the very beginning, that they can have something to learn with and not have the same problems that we all experienced when we were learning things a traditional way. What's your feedback? A Facebook account to learn English. I did not find it in the description. If you look for EnglishAnyone.com, you should be able to find that. I think even on our YouTube channel homepage, or just channel page, you can look up at the links in the top banner, and you should see YouTube for that as well. When is the next live conversation going to be? I don't really know when my next live conversation will be. This is a kind of special occasion, I guess. I wanted to just do something to say thank you for everyone. Typically, I typically like to teach more when I'm trying to think about something and I have time to express it in a way that, I don't know, I guess it's just like a more appropriate way to say something and to think about what I'm saying, so I don't give you misinformation or I don't take too long to explain something. I know I speak a lot anyway, but let's see. Show us my room. My room. You guys want to see my room? There's really not much to look at. It's really just a bunch of books like up on the wall. Let's see. It's 7 a.m. The sky is blue, and there's a clear view from down here. Drew, what's the best advice for beginners who study English? Again, watch that beginning English playlist on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube channel, look at the playlist, and you'll see beginning English. It's like the best beginning English playlist or whatever. How about slang phrases, for example, like to spill the beans? Those are another thing that we're going to be teaching. So we're working on a new course with that, with these power stories. And I'll probably make some more videos about that as well. But learning the origin of something like spilling the beans and then learning how it can be applied to other things is really helpful for learning to speak like natives. Because you almost have to reverse the process when you're learning as a native, because you hear something in a conversation like an idiom that you don't really understand what it means, and then you think, okay, how do I have to try to figure out the origin of that and then work back, and then once you understand the origin, then you can start using it yourself. But if you hear something interesting in a conversation or in a movie or in a video like this, then write that down. Maybe you have a phrase notebook or something. Like I'll do that from time to time in Japanese if I hear something interesting, or I will even try making a sentence. I was talking with my wife and her father maybe a week ago, and I used an expression in English that, like, you can't mix oil and water, or the expression is oil and water don't mix. So like if you take oil and try to shake it up and mix it with water, the two don't mix. And then I took that and I said it in Japanese, and my wife was really impressed that I used that. She was like, oh, like, where did you learn that phrase or whatever? And I said, no, it's just something we use in English. So often you can try applying things like that. Typically, people will understand what you're meaning, even if you don't exactly say it in the way you think it would. But something like that, again, that's a good way to practice it. So try saying things, even if you might make a mistake doing it. Let's see. I want to learn Turkish. I'm probably going to apply your tips for learning a new language. Yes, everything that I teach, it's about learning languages in general. I just really use English examples because that's the specific language that I teach. So all of the things that we talked about, like the 7 fluency habits and how to improve by learning things in particular steps, all of these things are applicable for any language. So if you learn French or Italian or Japanese or any other thing, then you want to be like learning the language in the language itself from simple, easy steps and being able to teach yourself as best you can without having any explanations from your own language. Let's see. Gafar says, give me some tips for improving writing skills. So in this video, I actually talked about that earlier. Introduce yourself, dude. Many of us are here for the first time. All right, Spencer, I can introduce myself. So my name is Drew Badger, and I do call myself the world's #1 English fluency guide. And people say, well, how the hell can you say that? How can you call yourself #1 in the world at whatever? Well, the idea of an English fluency guide is something different than someone like a teacher who would be typically just giving you advice or telling you, like, here are the particular grammar rules that you should be learning. Whereas an English fluency guide like myself, I want to understand the specific problem that people that have learned the traditional way have now trying to get fluent. So it's different. Like I would not teach the way I do now if I'm speaking to a beginner. So I would not use any like of that person's native language. And you can see again how we do this with the Beginning English playlist on our YouTube channel. But like thinking about the way that I teach, I had to think of a different way to teach because I also had to think of a different way to learn because the traditional teaching way did not help me learn French, Japanese, or Spanish. And so when I started like trying to teach myself in a new way, which is the way I teach everyone else now, I developed that. So that's why I can call myself the #1 in the world, because I created the idea and now lots of other people follow that same idea. In other news about my life, I came to Japan in 2003 because I wanted to study Japanese gardening, and I didn't know the language at all before I came. I had practiced a little bit of writing some of the characters just for fun, but I didn't know anything about that. And I've been living in Japan on and off. And if you listen to the blending of this on and off for, I guess, 13 years or something like that. Yeah, fairly long. Came out here in 2003 and it's now 2017. I don't want to talk about myself too much, but if you have any more questions about things specifically, let me know. Let's see. Do you Kevin Nair's fluency books? I don't know Kevin Nair. Actually, I think let's see. Maybe it's a guy from India, I think, correct? I don't know. But yeah, I think like just talking about the ways to get fluent. Actually, well, I guess I don't really know. I don't really know, so I won't comment on that. But if it works, then fantastic. Let's see. One thing I would like to ask is, do you have an ebook online where I can buy them? Yeah, you can. We have courses about all kinds of things, but we don't sell like, well, I guess the English fluency guides that we do sell, those are available at our website as well. But all the courses I recommend, like video courses for sure, and that's why I produce videos, because if you can see what I'm doing, and especially for learning grammar, it's much better to actually see the action of that thing as you're learning. So I recommend, also you can see samples of our visual guide to phrasal verbs on our YouTube channel as well. So watch that. It will definitely teach you how to think more like a native. Let's see. Yasmin says, hi, Drew, I'm Bangladeshi. I cannot understand. So please, what can I do to begin? This is my first language, our first message. And I'm always surprised, like people will send me fairly complicated English when they're writing, and they'll say, I'm just a beginner or whatever. And I'm always surprised by that, because I get really quite eloquent, really nice letters from people that, again, they're typically having, maybe they understand a lot of English, but they just have problems expressing themselves. And really the thing you want to focus on if you do have a problem understanding people is to, again, listen to things or to speakers that you do understand, maybe at least 80 to 90% of, and that way you can, maybe you're knowing quite a few of the words, but the new things that you're learning, you're getting that information from the context and you can understand it without getting a dictionary. So whether you're trying to improve your speaking or your writing or whatever, pick a specific thing, like today I want to improve this phrase or I want to improve my pronunciation, and set a specific goal where you can measure. And again, the measuring is important about that, whether you can pronounce that or not. So like my goal for being able to say something is like, can I make a native Japanese person say, wow, your pronunciation is really great? And can I get that from like more than one person? And this is just one example, but if I can say something and someone's really impressed by what I say, then I think, okay, like I'm getting to the level of that. Now in Japanese, it's a little bit trickier because many Japanese people are very nice, and you can say konnichiwa really badly. This is just hello in Japanese, and people will say, wow, like your Japanese is amazing. So again, you have to have different standards for that. But typically, English speakers will be they will quite praise you a lot if you are able to speak well, and it's a really good thing. So whatever, if you want to improve your pronunciation or anything else, just focus on a particular thing that you can measure, decide what you're going to be measuring that by, and then you can start improving that way. Let's see. Carmen says, can I speak a little more slowly? Can I speak a little more slowly? Okay, let's speak a bit more slowly just for a little bit. But again, as I'm speaking, listen to how I'm still blending the sounds of my words together, my words together, my words together. So even if you're speaking slowly, and again, this is the way to improve your pronunciation, just because you're speaking slowly doesn't mean you can't sound like a native speaker. And it kind of annoys me when I actually watch quite a few people teaching English, whether it's in the classroom or online, wherever, where people will speak slowly, but they will speak like a robot. And this is why they teach people, like many of you out there in the regular English classroom, where you learn to speak like a robot. And you will be speaking with people and they will say, hello, my name is Tom. When people pronounce it, my name is Tom. My name is Tom. And even if you say that slowly, my name is Tom. My name is Tom. My name is. My name is. So even when you're listening for pronunciation like that, if you're just, whatever, practicing and doing your best to improve that thing, start by going more slowly, blending the sounds the same way you would hear a native speaker say them. And even you can watch, like maybe this video, you can't do it right now, but when you have let's see, like after this video, or you go back and watch a different video, if you click on the little gear button, it's in the lower right of the video, usually next to the copyright CC button. But if you click on that, you can change the speed of the video. So try watching it and set it to maybe like half speed or something, and you can slow it down and see what the person is saying. But you'll see how the sounds are blended together. Let's see, my American versus British slang video was interesting. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, we got some. What role can I play in mastering pronunciation as fluency? Again, it's the same. I can't say it enough. It's the same thing over and over again. Pick the thing that you're weakest at, improve on that. And again, that could be listening, speaking, pronunciation, maybe your vocabulary if you tend to forget words a lot, all of those things. But just focus on the thing that you're weakest at. And again, this is the advice I'm specifically giving to people that have learned English the traditional way but are unable to speak. Let's see. Hi, Drew. You look like M Shadow A7X. I don't know who that is, but if it's a cool looking person, then fantastic. It would be interesting to hear me speaking a little bit of Japanese, German, Spanish. Well, I don't really know German. けど日本語で喋ったらね、何言った方がいいですね。もう普通はもう、日本人はあまり、多分もう日本人が聞いてるけど、世界中にいる人がね、ほとんどもう日本にいない人が僕を聞いてるです。なんでかなね。不思議ね。けど、今は多分日本人も英語はまだ大事けど、多分もう、けどオリンピックがもうすぐ来るから、みんなはもうちょっと英語も勉強して頑張った方がいいけど、なんていうの。ハングリーな精神があまりないかなってよくもう言われていますけど。 So it's like a little bit of Japanese, and I was just saying like I have, you know, a lot of people that most of the people actually that follow me are not in Japan, which I find surprising. But I don't really do like I guess much in Japan specifically about, you know, getting out and trying to help people learn. I don't know, but I think a lot of that has to do with like maybe Japanese people in general. And again, I know like a lot of we do have, you know, a lot of great Japanese people that follow what we do and that learn from us. But I think just like I've heard from a lot of people that like I don't know, people in Japan are typically not like as like hungry to learn the language. Maybe like now as they used to be. So anyway, I'm also like my voice is getting worse because I'm speaking like continuously over here. Let's see. How can I work on my speaking? Coco Semi says. Again, the same thing. I'm gonna keep getting the same questions over and over again as we go through this. Um, but it's really the same thing. Just you got to focus on a particular thing. Don't just say how can I focus on my speaking? How can I improve that? How can I improve a particular part of that? So focus on whatever whatever that thing happens to be. The same thing with idioms or phrases. Like pick some specific things that you want to focus on, whatever, again, the worst thing, the thing you struggle most with, because, and this is the thing really people forget, um, and that is like they try to improve the things that they already do well. So a lot of learners they know a whole bunch of words and they will try to study more words, but then they won't practice their speaking. And then like they wonder why they can't speak very well. And that's because they're focusing on something that they already do well instead of trying to work on something different. So let's see, this is my first live video. Will there be more? Maybe there will be more. We'll see if this video becomes, you know, popular, people enjoy this and have specific questions and like to learn more. I will likely do this again. We'll see. But also I probably will not do like a regular schedule live thing. I don't know. Maybe I will. We'll see. If people find this interesting or helpful, maybe I will do something like that. But also I like to work on kind of systems like we're doing with the lessons we produce, and also so the apps that we're building. So it's just something that like, because again, I can focus on that and really try to make it as great as possible for people to teach themselves, which is really the thing that it's most powerful if you can do it. You look so much like Forrest Gump. Really, Forrest Gump. So I look like Tom Hanks. Yeah, sometimes I will say that. It's interesting what people say or who people say I look like in different places. So nobody in America ever says I look like Tom Hanks. And this is like a typical thing, like other white people look at me and like they don't see that at all. But I come to Japan. When I first came to Japan, actually people thought I looked like Sylvester Stallone. I don't know. That's just what people said, which is interesting. I don't know why, but there you go. Let's check Facebook again, see what's going on over here. And I'll try to go as long as I can. My voice is going to I'm going to lose it for sure. Can you say hello to my kids? I'm from Bangladesh. Amida, hello to your kids. And again, let's see, anything back in. Yeah, this is just weird about having these. Do I have a job besides YouTube? Yeah, Edgar, that's a good question. No, I do not. Like everything I do, like the company English Anyone, it provides for all my needs. I do not have a separate job. And I can, I happen to be living in Japan right now, but I could really live anywhere for doing what I do. And that's really thanks to everyone out there. I can help improve everyone's English or help them continue to improve and become more fluent. And at the same time, I can travel around, and hopefully in the future, I'd like to meet more people in person. That's really my favorite way to teach, typically with like a small group of people. I'd like to actually do there's a thing that's kind of become more popular now, that these are like adventure races. So people are doing more. These are typically physical challenges where you have to run through some mud and climb some walls and other things like that. But what I'd like to do is organize some kind of like adventure races, but having to do with fluency. So you would actually go to specific places. Like if you live in Chicago, where I'm from, you would have to travel around the city and perform specific things in order to, in order to get fluent. So I like trying to come up with better ways to help people improve their fluency, and that would be one of them. So actually working with groups of people. And if actually you are a person that would like to organize something like that where you are, send me an email and maybe I can help you do that. Let's see. I have improved to speak fluent, Drew, but I think I always use the same words. Give us some tips to increase our speech. All right. This is a great question, Salim. You're going to have to think about, again, it's training that robotic mind that you have to think in a different way or to express yourself in a different situation. And the only way to change that is to think about it consciously. And in my case, like, let's say every time I see someone, I say like, hello. That's just like what I say. But then I think, okay, today I'm going to try something different. I'm going to say, it's a great day, isn't it? Just as a particular thing. And I'm going to practice that. So I practice it to myself. It's a great day, isn't it? It's a great day, isn't it? So isn't it, but I'm pronouncing it and blending the speech. It's a great day, isn't it? It's a great day, isn't it? So I practice that, and when I meet someone, I'm kind of reprogramming that robot mind of mine, and how to speak. And then, like, again, it's a great day, isn't it? I'm going to start saying that. But the only way to stop saying the same thing over and over again is to think of something different. Now, the other approach you can also do, which is related to this, is to add one more thing or change that expression or whatever it is you say in a particular way. And this is typically a great way to improve this is for things that people typically ask you about often, like, what do you do for a living? So what is your job? How many people are in your family? Where do you live? So other questions like that, you have the opportunity typically in your writing or in your conversations to change the answers of these things, even just a little bit. But again, you have to be conscious when it's happening. Otherwise, people will ask you those things and you will just respond like, oh, I'm Drew. I'm from Chicago. And I just say that over and over. I'm Drew. I'm from Chicago. I'm Drew. I'm from Chicago. And then people would, like, they're asking me the same thing, and like, I can respond that way, or I can say, you know what, I'm Drew and I'm from Chicago, but now I live in Japan. So I'm going to add a little bit of information to that. I'm going to change that in like a slightly different way, just to give some different way of expressing that. And all of these things, really, fluency comes from these, like, improving lots of little things, or as we say in English, to tighten the screws. If you got like two pieces of metal and you're trying to hold them together, like, if you don't have the screw really tight, they will move around, but you have to tighten the screws on that, and then to make it really strong so it doesn't move. So often trying to improve little things, whether you're improving your fluency or your business or improving, playing a sport or whatever other thing it is, if you can do that, you're focusing on lots of little things like that. So just pick a specific one, tighten that screw, and then move on to something else. Let's see. Haya says, do I have a religion? No, not really. I guess you could say I'm more like philosophical, psychological about thinking like that. But my own ideas about, like, the way the world works, or like, what reality is, all of that stuff is maybe a little bit weird. If you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comments. I could talk more about that. Let's see. Is there scramming in Chicago? I don't know what scramming is, Ahmad, but if you have a question about that. Make videos on improving writing skill. Again, go back and watch this video and you can see what you think about that, because I do talk about improving your writing in this video. Please tell us your opinion about English chauvinism. So I guess that's implying that, like, people, maybe think they're like better or whatever. Well, I mean, I think you get a lot of, like, people, whatever, like, position of power they happen to be, whether that's like America being a military superpower in the world, and so Americans may treat people like in a disrespectful way. And it's interesting. I actually find when I travel, I find myself kind of apologizing for Americans. I say, like, I'm really sorry if you've ever had a bad experience, and I mean, not like all Americans are bad or anything. But it's an interesting thing that, like, you have to be conscious of that, like, within maybe like individual power that you might have in your own life, that you don't abuse that with other people. Like, if you work, other people work under you, that you treat them well and you treat them with respect. And again, that's trying to be conscious of your behavior as opposed to, like, doing what the robot mind would let you do normally. Prasad says, I'm weak in grammar. How can I improve it? Go watch the beginning English grammar playlist that we have. Again, that beginning series is really powerful, even if you already know those grammar points. Number one, just to review them, but number two, to understand how you should be learning things like grammar. You need to be learning it visually, and need to be having things like stories, which lets you to repeat that in order to get the tenses in different ways. Camilla says, did I watch the Oscars? No, I did not. I love watching movies, but I don't really care about the Oscars and that kind of thing. Can you construct your thoughts? How do you construct your thoughts before speaking? That's a good question too. I don't really I kind of construct my thoughts as I'm speaking, but you'll notice that if you guys have ever seen the TV show Westworld, if you've seen that, let me know in the comments. But there is a scene in, I forget what episode, but near the end of the first series where people are talking about like this robot thinks that she is saying her own things, but then she looks at sentences on a computer screen and they're showing kind of orders of things that are, these are like likely things you could say because you said this word, then this next word is going to be a likely thing you'll say. And I plan on making a video, I don't know exactly how I want to do it yet, but about reading the minds of native speakers. And you're really doing just like accessing the robot mind of a native speaker, because when people typically say one thing, then you know they're going to say something else. And this is why people often interrupt each other more when they're speaking in the same language, because they already know what the other person is going to say. And just to check this for yourself, you likely do the same thing in your native language. So pay attention for this when you're talking with people and you're listening maybe for like what the other person is saying, and you probably know because they said this word, they're probably going to say something else. Let's see. Impractical Jokers is also good. Yeah, there's other lots of great TV shows out there. Which English channel would be the best for improving English? I don't know what you mean by that, Shaik, if you mean on YouTube or wherever, but again, find something you like, whether you like learning with me or not, it doesn't matter. You know, it's great if you enjoy my stuff. If not, find somebody that you do enjoy and just like learn with that information, practice with those people, or again, find the thing like that you're interested in, like learning about cars in English, or learning about, you know, anything else. Let's see. How long has this video been going? I don't even know when I started. I can definitely feel my voice getting weaker over here. Let's see. I've improved speaking fluently is because your lessons. I've followed the speaking patterns you use. Very good, Salim. That's great. Thanks, Drew. With your help, my fluency got better. Thanks. That's fantastic to hear, Rabar. Hopefully, I'm going to definitely mispronounce a lot of people's names for sure on this. I'm able to understand you're speaking fast, but I can't speak quick as you do. What should I do to speak quicker? Again, find something like improving your pronunciation in a sentence and just say it over and over again until you can say it quickly. Even these little bits like English fluency bits that I'm using, or something like over and over. So I repeat myself over and over. So over and over is a conversational way of saying repeat. So do something over and over again, but you practice and you start saying it quicker, over and over, over and over, over and over. And you blend it together over and over, over and over. So if you can say it quickly, it means you can also say it slowly but pronounce it properly. So begin with that and then work up to that. Is it a good tool to read and reread the same book several times and listen to the audiobook trying to speak and record yourself? Yeah, those are all great. And this is what we do in Master English Conversation as well. We want people to approach the same information from many different perspectives. And this means hearing the same story told by different speakers so you can develop your own English speaking voice, or just even listening to somebody say something and then watching them say it, or just like reading what the transcript is of that kind of thing. The more time you can spend approaching the language from different angles, and this is the same way native speakers learn. So my mother will say a phrase, my father will say the same phrase, my sister will say the same phrase, I'll see it written somewhere, and over time I develop kind of my own particular sense of what I should be sounding like for my own particular voice, and that's how you improve. Let's see, there's some Russian here, which I can't read. My mom knows a little bit of Russian, but let's see. Mai says, I need someone to talk with speaking. How can I improve English without speaking? Well, obviously you have to meet people to practice and improve your English speaking, but this comes from not thinking about it from learning English, but thinking about it from an interest you have that you can talk about in English. So try to think about English as a medium where you would just be speaking your native language, but you're speaking English instead. And if you're not feeling very comfortable about that, just begin with commenting on videos right here on YouTube and talking with other people in that way. So, like, let's say I'm really shy about using Spanish. Like, I don't speak Spanish at all. But if I want to begin using it just to try to type some Spanish out and then I can say those things, again, I'm slowing down the language to help me remember it and use it more easily. But I go to videos that are posted by people that speak Spanish, and I'm talking to other people that speak Spanish on the videos. And if you watch people, like, it's a community like anywhere else. You can go to different videos on YouTube and just start improving your fluency from there. So find things that you're interested in that are in English. So whatever that is, you can find an interesting video on anything. Like you could get 10 people from this live chat right now all go to a particular video on YouTube right here. Like if you want to learn about gardening, whatever, you go to gardening and then just start typing a whole bunch of comments and get a conversation going there. And people that produce videos are always happy to respond to those, especially if they don't have many comments on their videos. Let's see. Can I speak some Spanish? I can't really speak Spanish. I know I only remember I took Spanish for a year in college and failed it, and I stopped after that because Japanese wasn't offered when I was in college. But Spanish, like I had to take a language, and the only thing I remember about taking Spanish in that class was that I would go to the back of the room, and there would be a clock up on the wall, and I would set the clock ahead a couple minutes, like every class. And then by the end of the class, it was like a little bit faster. So I was really happy about that. But I don't really speak any Spanish. If you put some Spanish in the subtitles, I can try to pronounce it. But like I don't. Let's see. Let's see. Look up Jalacamulco up on the internet. It's a beautiful place. I've actually been to Mexico. I've been to Cancun and Cozumel, and those are both just vacation trips, which is a lot of fun. Let's see. I have a curiosity. So I like, and this is one of those things you'll notice as you're speaking with natives. Like if you say, "I have a curiosity," like that phrase is not something a native speaker would say. They would say like, "I'm wondering about something." And when you listen for these kinds of things, often they will come from how you say things in your native language. And you might think like, "I have a curiosity about something" is the way you would express it in your native language. But when you're learning the English, as soon as you hear it's better to say like, "I'm wondering about something," or even just, "I have a question." So I have a question about something, and that was, let's see, what is 109C in the US and how to read it? I don't know what that means actually. But yes. If again, like you're listening for things like that, like try to replace the language that you're using that's English that kind of sounds a little bit weird to native speakers, and you'll know it when like native speakers kind of look at you about that. So pay attention to native speakers, and you can learn in the same way that native English speaking children do, because native speaking children will say things wrong all the time. Aria will say things and we'll just say, "Oh, like here's how you say it correctly," like that. So just be like that and be willing to make mistakes. So know that you will make mistakes, and it's just like a part of learning, just like any child would be learning. Would I like to visit India? Yes, I would. I think visiting India would be very cool. I'm just wondering where your accent is from, Jeong Song says. My accent is, well, I'm from Chicago, and I have kind of a nasally accent, so maybe a bit more like this, but also I don't know, I've always had a very relaxed way of speaking. And yeah, so I don't really have like some people think I'm from the southern states in America because of the relaxed way that I speak, but no, it's just my normal accent. But also I speak I'm still blending the sounds of my words together, but I speak a bit more slowly when I'm trying to help people learn, and especially just because maybe things might be a bit more difficult to hear with the internet. So can you, let's see, this is from Facebook. Tamir says, "Hi, thank you very much for doing all this for us. Can you please explain about the time tens in terms of using do, did, does, have, has, brag. Now, people ask me questions like explain everything in English grammar in this video. I can't do that, but like a lot of these things about like do, does, did, those are things that I do cover in that series of beginning English grammar that you can find on our YouTube channel. Let's see. Let's see. Tengo que aprender. Yeah, I don't know like some of the pronunciation of that. I know like occasional words in Spanish. I have to learn 10 new words in Chinese. When do you usually go live? So this is another this is my first ever live video, and it's not something I've done or I guess like plan on doing frequently. I don't know. Again, it depends on how well this does and if people enjoy it and people benefit from it. If not, then I will continue to make my normal videos like I do, and we'll maybe occasionally do like a surprise hop on the live camera like this. I'm actually like I don't really like scheduling stuff. So I try to schedule very little in my life, and then just like if I feel like doing something, then I do it. So this is something I was like, you know what, I should figure out how to do a live thing and get on it. Valber says PlayStation or Xbox. I think I had a PlayStation back many years ago. Never had an Xbox. Let's see. Elias says, "Is it a good idea to practice listening with songs?" Yeah, it's a great idea to practice with songs actually. And one of the things we do recommend is that you should listen to different versions of the same song, and these are called covers. So if you find a song you like, especially a popular one like "Let It Go," so like some like "Let It Go" from the Frozen, where even if you don't like that song, there are so many people singing it on YouTube that you can find different voices of people, and that will help you improve your listening. So always try to find one thing and then approach it from different angles. So you'd find one song and you would approach it from many different people singing that same song or at different speeds or whatever. And so that's why we create the time traveling lesson in Master English Conversation. That's why we teach the way we do, because you really should be approaching something from as many different possibilities or as many perspectives as possible. Hello from Russia, says Owen. I've actually been to Russia. It was many years ago, but I liked it. I was in Russia and Poland, actually. But it was a great. I was singing, if you can believe that. I used to be in a choir when I was young, so I was singing. Now my voice, I'm really losing my voice over here. I need like I don't know. It's also like I just had lunch and then I was like, okay, let's go live. So I'm stressing my voice out. But back when I was singing as a very young kid. Let's see what else we got here. To help her eat because she is a baby. Let's see. So people writing, like I guess people are talking to each other in various languages, but but I can't really read Spanish or Russian or Arabic or anything else. So what time is it in Japan? It is 3:49. Have you ever been to Mount Rushmore, South Dakota? Yes, I have, Jose. I went there. I used to do a lot of camping out west in America when I was younger, but I really like South Dakota as well. Let's see, any other basic questions we have here? I have a question. When I speak in English, sometimes I mix up the tenses. Do you have any advice for me? Again, this is one of those things that you focus on a particular tense and you would be approaching it in different angles. But try not to think about what's the tense you want to use. And this is like a subtle idea, but don't think about the tense. Think more about the the meaning or the situation in which you're talking about it. So if I think about I want to do something tomorrow, it's not what's the future tense, but like what are people actually use in that situation? Because this is the same way that little kids learn. So they're not thinking about what's the tense of something. They're thinking like, okay, the future you use this. So I'm talking about something in the future. And this is again why we talk about things like we do in the time traveling lesson in Master English Conversation. Because we want people to focus on the situation and the time in which something happens rather than, okay, here are the tenses and how you remember them. So today I am going to meet a friend of mine for dinner. Tomorrow I will meet a friend of mine for dinner. Next week I will meet a friend of mine for dinner. Yesterday I met a friend of mine for dinner. So I take simple things and practice saying them in different ways. Again, I'm approaching one thing in different angles, so different approaches to help you understand something. And then that was, just a really great way, or it is a really great way for you to improve your fluency. All right, well, I'm running out of steam over. I'm like losing my voice. But if you have any final questions, anything else you particularly would like to know about, let's see. Sim Hachalam is asking about 271 sentence structures in English. Don't even worry about how many sentence structures there are in English. It's really not something that's important. And as a general rule for learning, if a native speaker doesn't know the answer to your question, you don't need to know it either. So just think about that when you're thinking about, like, if I think like what's like I can talk to native speakers and I say, hey, what's a phrasal verb? And nobody knows the answer to that. Like, and like you wouldn't know the answer to that. I didn't know the answer to that before I was like actually trying to help people learn. It was like, okay, I want to help people learn a particular thing, but then I have to learn what the name of that thing is in order to use it. But and that's only for the purposes of teaching and looking something up more easily online. But just use that as a general rule in your mind. If a native speaker doesn't know something like the International Phonetic Alphabet, for example, it can be helpful, but it's certainly not necessary. Let's see. What's the basic difference between British English and American English? Well, it's kind of a long explanation that would require, I don't know, like a couple of people, especially a British person, speaking more about that. But it's like the difference between even different areas in Japan, where you've got the same grammar, essentially, it's really the same language, but because the language evolves in different places, it's just like, species of animals like become different things over time or whatever. So you start with like one group, and then like, the children and the children and the children are different, and so you have people in different parts of Japan that are using the same language, but often they can't understand what the other person is saying because the specific vocabulary is different. So it's the same thing with British and American English or Australian English, whatever. Typically, we can understand each other, but we sound a little bit different, or we will use some different phrases. So it's not really anything different or special from any other language. You speak fast and easy to understand. What are you saying? But sometimes when I hear someone speak even slower than you and they have this same problem understanding him. Yeah, again, that's because I speak in a very specific way so that people can understand what I'm saying. So I'm, like a trained speaker in a way. I've been doing this a long time. But this is the way you should be trying to speak if you want to be understood. So also it sounds still, even to like a native speaker, like pleasing English. So I'm not like, people don't think I'm speaking really slowly when I'm speaking like this. They understand what I'm saying and they think I'm being thoughtful, actually, because I'm trying to express myself in a slower and I guess more purposeful way. But you can think about this as you're learning the language and try to focus on specific ways of sounding that like are pleasing to your ear, and that what other people find pleasing as well, and you can begin improving your pronunciation that way. But think about pronouncing your words smoothly even when you say them slowly. So pronouncing your words smoothly even when you say them slowly. Do you think you can feel comfortable with a language that is not your mother language? Do you think yes, Lucas, I feel quite comfortable in Japanese. Occasionally I may think of something where I'm like, I don't know exactly what the right word for that is, but my Japanese is good enough that I can express it in a different way. And you got to kind of be like water, like this. When you're moving, like you might have a rock get in your way, but the water just moves around the rock anyway. So if I don't know the exact word for something, either I'll ask someone, hey, how do you say this word in Japanese, while I'm speaking in Japanese, or I will express it in a different way. I will say, what's the name of that thing where it does this and that, the same way you would do it when you're speaking your native language. Let's see. MB says, hello from Italy. I love your channel. Thank you very much. Oh, look at that. We've got, let's see, Android mobile laptop jobs, 100% free install, Comp Cash. I love when people get in with these things. Like, why are people even on a live chat with that? Like, nobody looks at that. And this is like a marketing problem. People don't understand how to like market properly. I don't know how to remove specific. Actually, let me see if I can remove people again. What? Block. You just got blocked. Deleted, message removed. Oh my goodness, look at that. You're learning new things every day on this system. So anybody else, you start messing around, click block. I'll do a couple more. Let's see. Ramal, I guess. How can a native English speaker learn so many phrasal verbs of the English language? All you have to do is remember that that's the way you're learning it, like without having to learn anything else. So it's like phrasal verbs are actually a much easier way to learn the language than learning a whole bunch of other phrases or a whole bunch of verbs. So if you think about phrasal verbs, and these are things like pick up or pick out or pick over, where instead of learning, like I could learn like 100 individual verbs, or I could learn maybe 30 or 40 simple verbs like pick, pull, touch, say, and a bunch of prepositions like up, down, in, and out. And I put those together and I've got a vocabulary that's actually much bigger. And so this is why when we teach phrasal verbs, they are so important. Not only because it's the way native English speakers speak in everyday situations, but because it's so much faster to learn vocabulary that way. So if you're smart about learning vocabulary, you figure out ways that you can multiply your learning, and phrasal verbs is one of the ways you can do that. Can I say something again in Japanese? What should I say? けど本当にもう喉がもう結構痛くなって、あまりもう喋りたくないけどね。This is me saying like my throat hurts, like my voice is hurting, so I don't really want to speak much more anyway. But let's see. Anything else? Do I have a free trial English program? Actually, you can enjoy over 450 free videos right here on YouTube. And if that's not an amazing trial of learning free English, I don't know what is. So hope you're enjoying that. Let's see. Nissim says, hello from Israel. I love the way you teach and the speed of speech. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Oh, well, I'm losing my voice over here, so I'm going to have to shut it down. What? Well, let's see. Well, we got some other. Let's see. Kyuni Nihongo shaberu na. So don't speak Japanese like that. You are a great sensei. Sensei, very good. Thank you very much, Oleg. I'm in Toronto. Thanks for this live session. English nicer than Japanese. Well, I can't really say that necessarily, Miriam. Final tips. I don't know. It's one of those things like you just got to get out and do it, but it's easier to do if you're focusing on the thing that you're worst at. So typically, English in general is a skill that requires you to do many different things at the same time. And that's why learning a language is quite a tricky thing for people. If you want to do something like hit a nail with a hammer, there's really only one action to that. So you're doing like ding, ding, ding. And it's pretty easy to do because you don't really need to think about much else. But with fluency in general, fluency requires words that you need to speak. So if you don't have a vocabulary, you can't say anything. It requires an understanding of grammar so that you can communicate effectively without having to think about grammar and translate in your head before you speak. It also requires you to have a good listening ability, to have confidence when you express yourself. And so this is the tricky thing about learning a language, because you got all these different things that come together, and it's hard to know really what to do for your particular situation, especially if you're not working with an individual teacher. But you can give yourself the best advice I would give you really is to think about the thing that you are weakest at, and then use that, and that's what's really going to help you improve. So if you're thinking about like really what is the thing you struggle with most in a conversation when you're speaking, when do you stop? When do you get caught in a conversation and think like, I don't know the word I want to say, or is it because you forget the grammar, or you don't know exactly how to like understand what other people are saying? So try to think about when you get stuck in conversations, and that's really what's going to help you improve, because that's the thing you should be focusing on. Let's see, Delza, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, but did you visit Kosovo, my country, and here we speak Albanian? Yes, I have been to Kosovo before. I was actually helping with an election there many years ago. Do you think it is necessary for non-native English speakers to speak English with a British accent or American accent? It's not really important which accent you have, but it makes sense. I think if you're not in really, it just depends on the people that you spend your time with. Like if you like just a particular accent and it doesn't matter, maybe you just are learning English for fun, then use whatever accent you like. But try to focus on just one and master that. Like I can speak kind of like I have a British accent, and British people can pretend that they have an American kind of accent as well. Um, but it doesn't really matter. It's not like one is better than the other. But if you're living in America, it's probably better to have an American accent because it's easier to communicate with people that way. What do you think will happen with the advent of mobile automatic translation? I don't know. That's an interesting question, Owen. I don't know if mobile automatic translation will like really work or not. Maybe it will. I think it's going to continue to get better and better. But I think you're always going to encounter the problem of it's like criminals and police. So criminals are always one step ahead of police in terms of thinking about like new ways to commit a crime or do something. So the police can't really, I mean, maybe they can kind of think about something like how might people do something, but typically you can't anticipate that. So always you'll have a crime first, and then the police will try to figure that out and hopefully prevent future crime. So in the same way, you have the similar problem with language learning, and that is people are creating new phrases all the time, and it's just too fast for it to be even put into some kind of system. So the people that are able to learn things, and especially this is probably something else I will talk about in a future video, but if you know the language that's going to be used, so the words and phrases that will be popular in culture typically before everybody else, like you're even faster than learning and translation services in general. But I think like I don't know if having a translation app or something like that will replace people. Like for number one, for the reason I just gave, but for the other one, like it's a it's a tricky thing when you have people just in everyday situations and you want to make sure there's like really something important to communicate. If you're just traveling and it's like where's the bathroom or whatever, and that's not something you'd really make a mistake on. But especially like international business and other things, like the people that are going to get like the better jobs and the better pay, the better opportunities, those are going to be the ones that actually master the language and don't need to pull out a translator. I mean, think about like being in a business situation and you have two people. One of them is like, hey, I've got my translator that maybe isn't perfect, but it understands maybe 90%. And then you've got the other person, which is actually a fluent speaker. Like that fluent speaker is going to win every time. But it's a good question though. Let's see. Anything else? My English is falling apart. I feel like I'm not learning. What do I do? Please answer. My English is falling apart. Asias. Usually when people say things, oh no, I'm losing my voice. I'm dying. When people say things like this, it's first you have to like look at the problem. Like your English is probably okay, and you just need to focus on a particular part of that. So do a little bit of thinking yourself and think about how you could best improve again by focusing on what you are weakest at. All right, I'll do maybe like one or two more questions, and then I got to rest my voice. Okay, Ogzon says, "Don't die." Thank you, I appreciate that. I don't want to die because then I won't be able to do any more lessons. Do you think it's useful to note the vocabulary? Yeah, write things down for sure. Yeah, write things down when you learn them. Come back and review them again. Usually, I'll try to remember something. I'm looking actually. I don't think I've talked about this in a video before. But when I try to remember vocabulary, it's the typical spaced repetition where I will say something or read something and then say it to myself, and then I'll try not to think about it for 10 minutes and then try to think about what that was again. And I'm looking for almost a feeling that happens in my mind where it's like I kind of know that a connection was made. And when that feeling happens, I know like I won't forget that again. So try to review something maybe a couple times and then come back to that word again, like maybe 10 minutes later and then an hour later and then a day later, and see if you can remember something and see what that is. Let's see. Rendell says, Let's see. Where was that one? Do I play the piano? No, I do not. I can play the drums a little bit just for fun, but I don't really play the piano. All right. Any last questions? Let me check Facebook right quick. And then I'm going to take a break. I need to relax myself. Maybe I'll take a nap. I need to take a nap today. All right, I think actually this. Are you going to offer old lesson packages? Gabriela Andreas says. I think what we will end up doing, because we have over 5 years, of lesson sets for Master English Conversation. So this covers everything. Like people that join and upgrade to the Total Fluency program, they get access to all of those lessons, and that's like a lot. And so basically we offer that to people so that they can design their own course if they want to. Like you can get in, and because you have access to all the lessons, if you want to focus on a particular kind of vocabulary, so they're all organized by grammar point. If you want to learn one thing, just like phrasal verbs or business English or whatever, you can go through all of those like that. But we're thinking about moving over to a new system, which would allow us to let people purchase individual lesson sets so they can get whatever they like. But we'll see about that in the future. And Bennett Lowe 61 says, "You are a great teacher. Thank you for everything you do. Glad you're enjoying it." Camilla says, "What do I think about Brazil? I've never been there, but it sounds like a very cool place, and I'd like to go. I know we have a lot of fans in Brazil." Sakir says, "Drew, I love you and your lessons." Thank you very much, Sakir. Thanks for your time and patience. Hi from Turkey. Wow, I got a lot of people coming in, but I thank you guys. You guys could be anywhere else in the world or doing anything else, but you're here, and your dedication to improving your English is great. So I appreciate that, and really just want to praise you for taking the time to do that. Like, there's a lot of distracting things on YouTube, and I've definitely been sucked into things that maybe I, like watching stuff about video games or culture or whatever that, like, really it doesn't benefit me so much. But just as kind of a final point for you, try to think about producing more than consuming. And this means like producing information more than consuming it. So trying to speak more than you're listening to things online. Maybe spend 20% of your time that you're using for studying or learning and watch maybe a video from me or somebody else, but then spend the rest of that time, the other 80%, actually using things, whether it's in your writing or speaking with other people. Anyway, if you do have any other questions, feel free to put them, I guess, in the chat. Maybe after I stop this, you can still go back and review the rest of this video. But yes, I would love to, to do this again, and we'll try to figure something out. But do let me know if it was helpful for you. Post down in the comments, and do feel free to share this. Looks like some people, I'm looking at the like versus dislike ratio. It's still 6 people did not like this, so I'm sorry. Hopefully, I can't please everybody, but hopefully the people that did like this, that you guys benefited from it, and that you did enjoy it. It's kind of weird. Like I'm speaking, like I'm not really even looking at myself right now. I'm just kind of talking into the little camera right here on my computer. But I will give my voice a break. Leslie, last questions. Fatty says, "Do I have a favorite TV show? If I could recommend it, what would it be?" Well, for just watching TV shows, I watch a lot of HBO stuff. So things like Game of Thrones, which should be coming back on maybe next month, I think. Maybe it's in March or April. I don't remember. But that's like a show I enjoy. I also like Mad Men a lot. That's an AMC, and that's a TV network, cable network, AMC. You can find a lot of those just like off streaming sites on the internet, though. But anyway, we can call it a day, says Ahmed, and I think we will call it a day for now. Anyway, if you do have any more questions, feel free to send them in to info@EnglishAnyone.com, and let me know if you have anything else you'd like to learn, because as I said, I will be getting into the studio tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to stop broadcasting and take a nap, go play with Ari, I guess, for a little bit, and then I will see you all, I guess, like in the near future. Bye-bye.